Welcome back. I'm Ron Levine, with Editorial Director for SIA, and this is Don Johnston. He is the Senior Director Editorial for BioWorld Today and Medical Device Daily of Thomson Reuters. So we're here to talk about blogging, and specifically the power of team blogging, which is a much easier way to get into it if you have more people on your staff to share the load and that kind of thing. First of all, let's get into why we should blog in the first place. Can I get an idea of whose companies are blogging right now? I see that. All right. So most of us. So this part we can go through pretty quickly. Okay. We have engaging the audience in a meaningful way. Number 2 is important. Let the audience know that your website is current and changing. A lot of times that'll be the first place people go now when they go to a website, is the blog, because you know you see the date, you see it, this was done today, this was done yesterday, so you know right away that this is being kept up. And information is changing. To allow reporters and others to go off script and give their own personal bent. I think Don will talk about this a lot more with his staff. But you have your editorial people who are just submerged in this field every day, and a blog gives them a chance to maybe talk about the conversations they've had on the side, information they've seen in other places and haven't been able to get a chance to get into stories. Entice audience to check our site often. As I've said, it's that crisp, refreshing feel to it. Help build a special identity or brand. I think this one's important. I'll talk about this a little later with a couple of my examples. Allow different voices to get exposure. This is a huge thing with team blogging, to give a kind of a different and complete feel to your company. Get people talking, build communities, convey important information, and add another place where you can monetize and get ads. Okay, now team blogging, we do it at SIA. And there are a lot of advantages to it. I'll get into here. Present different voices, styles, faces. So at SIA, we have myself, who is blogging about content, publishing, niche marketing, those kind of things. 2 days ago, we had David Leduc, who's our Senior Director of Public Policy. He's blogging about the native advertising FTC workshop that he covered and gave great information. We have Keith, who's our legal counsel. He's writing about patent trolls and copyright and those kind of things. And really, when you look at, it just, with everyone doing maybe one or two a week, every other week, but it builds comprehensive. It really builds a nice folio for you. It spreads the workload out. We get into these more. Covers different topics with people who know their topic well. Let me get into these individually here. Okay, presents different voices, styles, faces. So for this report, I talked to Rachel Yeomans from Aztec. They have one of the best team blogs that I've seen. And they give a real fun feel to it. They'll have videos of their staff meetings, but then they'll have, each person has a specialty. One person, will do on SEO, another one on analytics, but what Rachel said was, they are required to have some kind of image. I think she wants to keep it fun. She wants their personalities to come out, and it works well. AIS Health is another SIPA member, and when I looked on theirs, if you have a chance to go there. They, I think all the editors, reporters, there are about 12 different pictures on the side, and then they have, each one is listed with about a paragraph lead, and you can easily see which one you want to go to. That's another key, is that instead of one long thing on your page, just give a little bit of intro for each one, and then somebody can look at it, pretty much quickly see the person who's writing it, see the picture, and then go down and click to what they want. Spreads the workload. This is one of the keys with team blogging, that instead of you're not coming to one person and saying, okay, we want you to do this blog. It could be a little intimidating. With spreading the workload, it does a couple things. What Rachel told me was important with this is you still need one person in charge. So even though you're going to ask all of your, a few different people, reporters, editors to blog, I think with her she asks for 1 or 2 a month, but she has to be the one that's giving the instructions and making sure everybody's on time and that things are coming in as they should. Covers different topics. People who know their topic well. This one's interesting. You may even look at your staff and the people you work with, and they don't really even have to be writers. With blogging's a whole different thing, I think. What Rachel told me was that one of her development people turned out to be one of her best bloggers. I think with blogging, it's more showing your personality, your knowledge. So those are the things. You can, and those people sometimes have a knack for just writing really engaging material, just the way they do it. Like here, so for this example, I went through a couple weeks of their blog posts, and look, all these names, each person had a different specialty. And then if you saw these only one at a time or something, it's not much. But then when you go down and see each one, it really becomes effective. I'm not sure. Is anyone the Cornetto trilogy? Does that ring a bell for anyone? I wasn't quite sure what that was, but let's see what else. Yeah, and this is what I was talking about. I think you want to give everyone a shot at this. There might be somebody in finances who's been wanting to blog about what they're doing. I think the goal is you're building a whole identity to your company, a brand, and the staff, and I think it's going to engage your employees. So don't just look at it like, oh, we have 3 reporters; those are our 3 bloggers. I think you can definitely expand upon, I think Ken over there does some of his own blogging, and we have pictures that come up for everyone. So I think it really, you start to get a familiarity with people and get to know their style, and you look for them. As I was saying, particularly at Aztec, they'll have these videos of their staff meetings that run about a minute long, and you can just see that they're having a whole lot of fun with them. And when they post them on their blog, I think that fun is infectious. By watching it, you feel it, and that's the image that they want to convey. I mean, they're a consultant, but they know their stuff. So they're a consultant. They're going to have fun with things, but they're also showing their knowledge about everything. With blogging, it's important to get into things quick. of course, in this digital age, and show your personality. And I thought this one here, where probably a woman who's not one of the main writers, just said, she's talking about the company. They had about 3 or 4 different things about their company retreat. And I think the first three were probably from men, and she was the first woman to sort of chime in, and it was good stuff. Yeah, again, if I was the only one blogging at SIIA, the information would be limited, or I would have to, interview different folks, which I do, but by we must have at least 10 people blog. It just extends what we can cover and what we can offer out there, what people can engage in. It just builds so much. This was just one that I found where they had a team blog, and you could see it was just a whole different amount of angles they were using. Again, I like also that, and the way SIIA does it is at the bottom of each blog, it'll list our picture and our bio a little bit. And Laura, who sort of runs the blog, is insistent that we do that, which is good, because again, it builds that familiarity, gives people a comfortable feeling with us, and helps overall. Okay, tips to remember. As I mentioned, Rachel was very affirmative on this, having someone in charge. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but just someone who's making sure what she said is somebody to answer to. Okay, very important. Starting, if you're going to start slow. It's fine. Once or twice a week, that's okay. But it's much worse to do the opposite. To say, oh, we're going to do 3 or 4 or 5 posts this week, and then 2 weeks later you're doing 1 or 2. So, start slow, build up. Rachel talked about, she thinks SEO-wise that 350 words and 1 image is for her a minimum. The only exception I could see is if you start doing something every day, then I think a couple of them could be, if you're definite on committed to having a presence every day on a blog, I think then some of them can be shorter, and just so you're conveying one quick piece of information. How does the topic affect your readers? I think is something to always have in front of your mind, and it's been gone over here today already. I mentioned that about the being listed with that teaser graph and some kind of read more button, so that if it's just one subject, if you only had one subject on a page and somebody didn't engage with it, they would move on. This way there's 5 or 6 or something they can choose from. Encourage personality. I think this is certainly one place where the old reporting axiom where reporters were always told to sort of keep their personality out of it. This is kind of the opposite. I think you want to learn more about them. I mean, it could involve what they did last night, the conversation they had, or that kind of thing. As I mentioned before, don't count anyone out on your staff without seeing if they might want to do it. If you do get, say, 5 or 6 people doing this on your staff, have them communicate with each other, share tips, see what's working and what's not, what's getting the best open rates. Have a guiding vision. Of course, that's important. You do want to, as I said, with Aztec, you want to be sort of a fun company with that AIS Health. I think they want to be looked at sort of knowing an editor or writer for every subject. So kind of start there, and then move on. Make use of everyone's social media following, very important. And this is another reason why it's good to involve as many people as you can on your staff, because I think everyone's going to have a different network of folks, and that's going to expand the following. Maybe they'll come looking for one person, and in the process of that, they're going to find some others that they like. Encourage everyone to feel ownership. The same kind of thing. This is a company blog. I mean, as I mentioned, when David does, this great post on native advertising, I feel great about it. That means more people are coming to it. I think more people are going to read my stuff, after they finish with his. I think repurpose has been a big word so far here today. It really, when I started in this 4 years ago, I was told this, and you do learn, I think, each year how important that is to repurpose. And so, starting with a blog, you're going to have that good content that you can definitely use in other areas, either a newsletter or a webinar, definitely other places. And I think, as I've talked about, a blog is definitely a window, maybe the most important one into your brand. I think Molly earlier today said that 60 websites with blogs were getting 67% more leads than those without them. So you can really see how important it is. Real quick, a content calendar, if possible, can help. I think at least, when each person is supposed to, David here, Keith here. I think it doesn't have to be exact, because you want people to sort of blog when they have something good, but I think it'll help. Call to action, at the end of, again, to use David's, at the end of that blog, he said, this is what SII is here for. We represented you at this meeting, and then if you have some input for us, please let us know. Landing pages, of course, are always important. SEO, there's going to be some good sessions here on SEO. I know Noran Olson from a Quota is doing one. I think it's tomorrow. So I would recommend coming back for that. And she could give more information on what needs to be in that blog for best SEO. Distribute, promote. The more ways you can get that out there, tweeting, Facebook, everything that you're doing in your company can have a sort of a portal into the blog. And as I said, socializing it. One of my favorite quotes is, if anyone's not doing it, there's only one way to start. Just begin. And again, as if you begin slowly, see how it goes, and then increase it from there. I think that's it for now. Let's see.
Indicated, I'm sorry, let me start over with the sound. As Ron indicated, I'm Don Johnston. I'm the Senior Editorial Director for the BioWorld business, part of the Life Sciences division of Thomson Reuters. We've been longtime associates with SIPA as part of the AHC media business, American Health Consultants. We were sold, AHC was split in two, and we were sold this past summer. We actually returned to Thomson Reuters because all of AHC had been a Thomson company for about a dozen years. Sold us in 2006 and reacquired us this summer. These are the things that I'm going to be talking about, blogging pros. Much of this will underscore what Ron has talked about already. And I'll give you some things to watch out for. I'm not calling them blogging cons because I'm a big believer in blogging. But I'll call them caveats. I'm going to talk about 3 blogs today. The first two are not quite 3 years old. We started them. I've been involved in both of them since day one. They are editorially driven and managed, which I'll talk about. And the third is brand new. It was started this summer. It is a marketing managed blog, and I'll explain how the two are different. And I'll talk most about BioWorld because it has been the most successful for us. Oops, I'm sorry. Here's some screenshots, and I apologize that they did not translate very well into my PowerPoint. I'm sure it was operator error, but this is what BioWorld Perspectives looks like. Just a couple of shots. This is Medical Device Daily Perspectives. And this is Life Sciences Connect. So let's talk about some of the benefits of blogging. Most of this will be self-evident, and it will mess with the earlier points that you heard from Ron. There are a lot of reasons to ensure that you create blogs and to ensure that you put sufficient resources behind them to make them thrive. Obviously, they can be a marketing tool. You can promote your products directly or indirectly. You can use them to gather leads by offering downloads and conducting raffles, etc. If you do so judiciously and you have the e-commerce capability, you can sell from your blog. You can load them with badge ad spaces that you can sell or promote your own products or trade with partners. Brand awareness is something that Ron talked about. Thought leadership blogs are a terrific way to showcase your expertise to drive the discussion in your space. You can use them to build or enhance the reputation of your team members, so maybe that makes them more valuable as webinar presenters or conference speakers. It becomes another form of content that you can deliver to your market that enhances the idea that you're a one-stop shop for data, information, and perspective. Posts can lead to discussions that lead to stories with your editorial team. And using art and headlines and tone and writing style and headshots, as Ron mentioned, you can use the blog to give your brand some personality. And I'll share some of the views of our writers as they sort of toggle between writing for the news dailies and writing for the blogs. A couple other things, as Ron has discussed, blog can give you a ton of content to draw the search engines. Blogs and social media work very well hand in hand, and I'll talk more about that. How the market responds to your posts, your blog-inspired tweets, your offers, and your downloads gives you insight into your audience. It's a way to engage your market. And finally, it's fun. It's fun for the writers, and it's fun for your readers. Just some things to watch out for. Most blogs don't make money directly. Yet it can become a full-time job. And you just need to be careful that you're focusing on the things that ultimately make money. All content must be edited. It should be in your style. And just use common sense when it comes to things like politics. And while it's great to have fun, make sure you're keeping your posts professional. And we debate all the time, are we giving away too much information for free on the blogs? Let me talk about BioWorld Perspectives. It's about 2.5 years old. We're posting about 3 times per month this year, which is not enough. There's a couple reasons for that. One was the acquisition, which took an enormous amount of time and energy as we were being courted by companies, and then the integration process with our new owners, which is ongoing. And there's a lot of ways to measure the effectiveness of your blogs. There's views, subscribers, comments, retweets. We don't pay much attention to subscribers because it doesn't mean anything particularly to be a subscriber to our blog. We don't give you anything extra. And in the B2B space, most blogs do not get a lot of comments, so we don't worry that we also don't get a lot of comments. But we pay a lot of attention to views, and we pay a lot of attention to the retweets that we get. 8 writers contributed so far in 2013, and I'm going to talk about 5 of them: Mary Serebroff, Catherine Schaefer, Peter Winter, Marie Powers, and Annette Brendel. First, just an observation from Lynn Yaffe. She's the executive editor of the BioWorld Group, and she says, the blog is BioWorld's editorial page. We vent about things that shock us, anger us, make us proud, or simply chat about something amazing or fun. Why does it work? It has a champion. I just mentioned Lynn. It has a driver. The executive editor assigns all the stories. She edits them. The comments that come in through WordPress, she approves them before they are posted. It has a very powerful brand behind it. In our little niche of the world economy, BioWorld is a very well-known brand. It's run by editorial. We've built it into the editorial culture. And there's a team spirit about it. There's almost a competition. Who can get the most views, who can get the most retweets, who can write the cleverest headline. It has a theme and a tone, deep cadre of writers that Lynn can call on, and the writers of various styles and interests. We've got a science blogger, we've got a Washington blogger, we've got a business blogger. And the writers they like this. They're eager to blog. As one of them told me, it's the favorite part of my job. We keep it simple. The editing process and the posting process. And we use, Ron mentioned images. We use art the way that newspapers and magazines have always used art, obviously online, to lure the reader in. We've done a good bit of marketing of the blog. And we use social media, particularly Twitter, very aggressively, and repost most of our blog posts on weekly e-zines. Mary Serabroff is our Washington editor for BioWorld, and she has written the post that has gotten the single most views ever since our blog launched, the Starstruck FTC. And it focused on power, focused on abuse of power. This is an agency that a lot of folks in D.C. felt had overstepped its mandate. And Mary set it up in a clever way. She wrote, this is her opening line, "The FTC seems to have come down with a bad case of star envy, not content with its supporting role as implementer of laws duly passed by Congress. The agency is intent on rewriting the script, casting itself as a headlining hero, executive producer, star-making director, and congratulatory movie critic." After this was posted, we tweeted it multiple times, and it caught the eye of some thought leaders in Washington. And I can't say that it went viral with 9,000 views, but in our little niche of the world, it did get a lot of attention. And this is what Mary says about blogging. "I use an entirely different voice when I approach blog writing. Besides letting my opinions flow, I try to have fun with the blog. I also recognize I'm writing for a different audience. Since our blog is free, we can pick up readers from all walks of life." Catherine Schaefer did a post. She's just a daily beat writer for BioWorld Today staff writer. And this piece on the Brzezinski Institute is the number 3 most popular post that we've ever had. And that's an organization that a lot of folks have felt was promoting cancer therapies while sidestepping the FDA, not playing by the rules. These therapies were expensive and potentially put patients in danger. So it was a controversial topic. It had some emotional resonance, cancer patients. And as Catherine said, that blog post struck a chord because it took a position on a controversial issue, which is sometimes something we tend to avoid in the daily publication in the interests of objectivity. Peter Winter does all of our financial posts. He's the editor of BioWorld Insight, which is a weekly that looks at trends and analysis at the financial end of the biopharma industry. And I just want to note a couple of them. He post this summer was called Bubbleology and Biotech's Bull Run. And the opening line began with a link. Our recent analysis, and you see analysis is hot link there, of biotech's second quarter performance showed, et cetera. That link back to his original article in Insight, which in turn was on the website, and we built in a landing page and so forth. And then the bottom piece there, 5 new trends in biotech venture. That's the 5th most popular post that we've ever had. And this is how Peter approaches the blog. In order to make the blog fresh and not a rehash of the analysis published in Insight, I put a personal spin on our data and position it with other relevant statistics to project out into the future. The blog attempts to explain what has influenced the data in the period under analysis and what are the takeaways for the reader. Both Ron and I have talked about art. This is just the art that accompanied Peter's Bubbleology and Bull Run post. Marie Powers does two sort of special posts that we do every year. One is a summer reading list, and the other is a holiday gift guide. And these are terrific examples of engagement. She literally sends out 100 to 200 personal emails to folks in our industry asking for ideas and recommendations. We posted the gift guide on Monday, and then she started tweeting about it. And she sent me an email. 10 minutes after the first tweet went out, she had 50 views on her piece. And I meant to get an update from her this morning, but I just forgot to do that. And just an example of engagement here that I thought was funny. Oleg Nodelman is one of the most respected and prominent investors in the biotech space, and he responded to her inquiries. It's somebody that she's met, and I just thought his comment, which was included in her post, was funny. While trying to find the best way to invest in the obesity space and keep myself healthy, I ran across the best gift I have given myself this year, the Lifespan Treadmill List, and then the post linked to a web page that featured that. Be cautioned, however, if I am breathing heavily while I'm on the phone with you, it might be more than my excitement about your company. Nodelman deadpanned. And this is what Marie says about these particular posts. She posts on other things, but she said the goal of the blog post is to provide at least one suggestion, book, or gift that readers can use. It's a nice extra if I feel I can make a reader smile or feel a pang of emotion. Just a couple other key posts I wanted to mention. He Said What? Best Quotes of 2011. That's the number 2 most popular post ever. And you see the number 4 one about specialty pharma. What I like about the best quotes, anybody can do that. I mean, if you just sort of look back through all of the material that you've published in a year, you can cull the best quotes and do that around December or January. And I just wanted to include some perspective from Annette Brendel, our science editor, and how she sees blogging as different from her everyday work for the Daily. I think what I try to do in the blog is cover science and medicine as a deeply human endeavor. My daily stories are focused on results, papers or clinical trial results, and how good the scientific evidence is, as they should be. But there's a lot of things that go into medical progress or lack thereof besides the cold, hard data. A blog should be fun, and here are some examples. We do have a lot of fun with our headlines. And here's 9 or 10 examples. Casting calls for Pfizer, the movie. What's in a biotech name? It's Greek to me. The Good, the Bad, and the a 2011 biotech recap. Bug juice, antibiotics, slow drip turns to flow. Spit and image, or how I am probably going to die. That was one of our writers did a genetic profile using the saliva test, a genetic profile of himself. What's 10 minus 4? Not 6, apparently. Kudos to 4 little biotechs doing cool science. Let me turn to Medical Device Daily. It's a little bit older, launched in the spring of 2011. We're posting about 6 times per month this year. Again, we look at views and retweets most carefully. 6 different writers have contributed in 2013. I'll talk about 3 in particular: Mark McCarty, Amanda Peterson, and Omar Ford. And why it works is almost identical to all the points that I raised with BioWorld. It has a champion executive editor, Holland Johnson. It is a powerful brand behind it. Holland's got a deep cadre of writers to call on. And in particular, the point that I've got italicized and underlined there, the writers are eager to blog, and one DC-based writer is very eager to blog, and I don't think there's a city on earth worth more to blog about than Washington, D.C. And that writer is Mark McCarty. A running theme for Mark this year has been, both in his coverage of the Daily and in his blog post, has been the Affordable Care Act. and in particular the device tax that's part of the ACA. Just a couple of his headlines: Beltway Blues, the device tax, the ACA, and a cheap antidepressant. And then election 2012, what it means for device makers. That's the number 2 most popular post that we've ever had. And this is what Mark says that he does. I guess the first principle is the same old thing: write what you know. I'm not inclined to write something controversial simply for the sake of stirring things up, but one must be willing to call things what they are. I talked about politics earlier, and one thing about Mark, he's probably a little bit right of center, but the industry that he covers and talks to every day is a little bit right of center, so it works. And all of his posts are edited by his boss before they go out on the blog, and he's never overstepped those bounds. Amanda Peterson, MDD senior staff writer, a lot of what she has written about is personal. She's had some health issues herself. Her husband is, I can't remember the technical term, but he's I think it's like ordnance technician. It's one of those Army guys that defuses bombs, and he's at a couple of tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And Amanda writes, sometimes the blog posts I write are intended to share my personal experiences with healthcare, letting our readers get a behind-the-scenes peek at who I am as a person. For example, I've written about my personal struggle with GI issues and my experiences with the military healthcare system. So regular blog followers know that I am an Army wife, and they also know I've battled IBD for a long time. Omar Ford is another staff writer, probably posts on the largest variety of subjects, but sometimes does that from a personal perspective as well. And he says, one of my easiest go-tos is my mother, who had a heart, and I apologize for that typo there, who had a heart valve replacement in 2003. I typically write about her experiences as a patient to coincide with the technology and movements in the healthcare landscape that we report on. And I love this quote, just it captures what blog style often can be and should be. It would be the kind of discussion we would have in person or over lunch. This is the number 1 post in Medical Device Daily Perspectives history. TAVR looked upon as next medtech blockbuster, but is it ready for prime time? What strikes me about this is that, unlike a lot of the clever and offbeat pieces that I've noted, this is as straightforward a blog post as you'll ever see. It's almost a news story. And Holland Johnson, the executive editor, wrote this piece, and he said, and I asked him, well, why do you think this resonated so much? Why is it so hot? And he said, investors, medtech companies, and patients are eager to learn more about TAVR, which is transcatheter aortic valve replacement. It's a substitute for open heart surgery. And it goes back to the opening premise of what Ron and I have been talking about. Where would they learn more about TAVR? They would learn more about TAVR from Medical Device Daily. We have fun with headlines on the MDD side as well. Curious about your heart rate? There's an app for that. Got elderly parents? There's a robot for that. MedTech innovation is dead. Long live MedTech innovation. When technology fails, and trust me it will, happy birthday Barbie. Top 5 ways to tell that you're a MedTech geek. Let me turn finally to Life Sciences Connect. This was launched this summer, July 22nd, averaging 3 posts per week. More than 30 different writers have contributed across the life sciences business of Thomson Reuters. And by the way, we don't spend a penny on content for any of these blogs. Everything is written by staff, which obviously we pay for the staff, but we don't buy anything on the outside. This is a much more marketing-focused blog. Its creator has done a terrific job of establishing metrics for the blog, and we're going to apply those to BioWorld and MDD going forward. And I'm happy to report that all of her metrics are going in the right direction. And that champion is Carla Burke. She's a marketing specialist. She's based in London. And this blog, too, has a powerful brand behind it. Thomson Reuters is a powerful brand. The life sciences division is powerful, and there's a product that she links back to consistently called Cortellis, which in the biopharma world is a very well-known product. This blog, I think, succeeds because it is run by marketing. It's got a very clear theme, which has been bought into by senior management, and that theme is thought leadership. Its whole intent is to show the life sciences market what we can do for them. She's got a deep cadre of writers, also literally from all over the world. Writers of various interests and styles, mostly are scientists or former scientists who have now gone into publishing or data accumulation and analysis. She's been very aggressive marketing it internally within the company and marketing externally. While we've relied very heavily on Twitter to promote our blog, she is a huge believer in LinkedIn. Has joined as many groups as you can join, and hasn't spent a penny on LinkedIn advertising, as far as I know. So all of the hits that she's gotten from the blog have been through her work within the various groups that she's joined. It's too early to have developed a team spirit. She's had a little bit of difficulty getting writers to contribute, even though she's got 30 that have. And that's because she's not an editorial manager. She's not their boss. She can't tell them that they have to do that. That's got to come from somebody like me. But we're all in the process of building that into the editorial culture. And I just wanted to say she's done a really good job, and Ron noted this, of putting every writer's headshots on the blog post, which makes them feel good, I think. Just a couple of the key posts from Life Sciences Connect. An Asia Strategy is Not Optional by Lynn Yaffe. Oral Therapy Sees the Spotlight in Multiple Sclerosis by Marie Powers. Those are two bio-role writers that have contributed to this blog for Carla. And the MS one in particular is notable because it was a bio-role Today story that linked to a free webinar that the Life Sciences Connect folks were organizing around MS. So the blog post promoted the webinar, which in turn led to the collection of leads. The second from the bottom, Biosimilar Drug Development Americas. I included that on this list just because at this point it has received 244 page views, but 170 of those have come from social media, 18 from Twitter, and 146 from LinkedIn. I thought that was awesome. And then the final piece there, Beyond Emerging Latin America's Pharma Industries Coming into Its Own. So far, that's the number one post that they've had on this blog. And I'll close with this quote from Carla. More and more stakeholders have been putting themselves forward to contribute content, original and repurposed, which has been a large factor in our success due to the quality and diverse nature of our posts. We are also witnessing a huge spike in contacts generated via the blog as readers click to download reports and articles promoted on the blog, allowing us to capture their contact details. And that's really what it's all about. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Don. A couple quick things from hearing that is yesterday in the sales workshop, the presenters were talking about recognition, about how salespeople like that, and hearing from what you were saying, I think that's probably another good thing for blogs, is that some of these writers that may go a little bit unknown, or you just see the byline in the newsletter. In the blog, there's their face, right? And there's a little more recognition for them.
I will say that not everyone on our editorial staff has embraced blogging. There's a couple people that prefer their anonymity. They don't want their headshot out there. And if we do get them to contribute to the blog, it's usually a repurposed piece. It's something they've already written, and they'll reluctantly say, yeah, we can turn that into a blog post. But for the most part, somebody like Mark McCarty, he loves it. I mean, he loves being the center of attention. He loves getting feedback, whether it's, whether somebody's agreeing with him or not agreeing with him. He loves the sort of back and forth.
The other thing you had down there too is building images also of some of your writers. Like 10, 15 years ago, I remember I was at the Washington Post a little bit, and it was, they didn't want you doing anything else. You didn't want to be radio, TV, any of that. Where today it's completely opposite. You want your writers to sort of build that public image.
Yeah, have some star power.
The other thing was frequency. I think maybe Don's stuff showed that's where I think quality enters into it. That as long as, if you're doing good stuff, then the frequency can vary, I think. As long as the posts you're doing are good. And I think team spirit, too, was also important. That sounded good. Any questions out there? Yeah, Phil?
So what about the difference between having the editorial in charge I just want to know the difference between having the editorial in charge of the blog as opposed to having marketing, because it sounds like the life sciences started later, but you chose to put your marketing person in charge of that as opposed to the editorial. Just curious about that.
I think some of it has to do with how the culture of our company has changed, and how the marketing personnel that was available at the time. 3 years ago, when we started the Buyer and the MDD blog, there was nobody in marketing interested in being involved in a blog, and yet we on the editorial side were very eager to get started, and we got started, and the marketing folks have come along afterwards, and the more their expertise can be applied to what we've already established in terms of tone and consistency and brand image, it's going to make for a better blog. The Life Sciences Connect started the other way around with the marketing premise. We have this theme of thought leadership, and we're going to tailor the editorial to that theme. I think, if I come back a year from now and talk about the 3 blogs again, they'll have come closer there'll be a more of editorials, energy, and maybe rebelliousness in the Life Sciences Connect blog, but more of the, business-minded metrics on the BioWorld and the MDD blogs. Does that answer your question?
Well, sort of. We just have a little bit of a... Yes, sort of answers it. It's just a question of there is a little bit of turf between who should be in charge of it, because we look at it primarily as a marketing function in the sense of we're trying to generate lead, all the stuff you put up there. Right. So that's why it's like, who should be in charge here? And then just what you said about, well, if you have the marketing person in charge, then it's hard to get the editorial, get it on their calendar and all those kinds of things. So it's just, I was just curious how you handled it, and that sounds like you moved towards the marketing.
Yeah, and I think that if you do have an editorial person running it, it's got to be a marketing savvy editorial person. And Lynn Yaffe and Holland Johnson, who I've talked about, have been part of our business for 15, 20 years. They've been in hundreds, if not thousands, of marketing meetings. So they understand that while they like to have sort of an independence about their blog, they understand that it needs to serve a business purpose.
I think, Philip, also what Rachel Yeomans had mentioned to me was that the people there knew that Andy Swindler, the president, and Rachel were both intent on seeing this work. So people understood that it was something they needed to do. Anything else? All right.
Don, do your writers do anything to try to target keywords in your titles or in your blogs? And do you track your keyword page results like in Google search?
On the BioWorld and MDD side, we're not doing that currently. We have talked a lot about, SEO and paid search, et cetera. And for an editorial team, we're pretty knowledgeable and we, know what it means to insert keywords into our stuff. We're not tracking it now, and that's sort of one of the things that we need to learn from the marketing side.
Christina, did you?